How's it going, everyone? This is Kevin. Today I want to bring along with me to talk about the filters that I use for my Tamron 17-28 and 35-150. So let's jump right into it. Filters, and filters. That's something that is very beneficial when it comes down to our content creations, which I'm going to talk about today of the filters that I got personally for my lenses and the reasons why I got them. If you have a drink or something nearby you to just enjoy this video, we're going to just get a little bit more into a chill kind of video when it comes down to the filters that I use for my content creation and the types of filters that I got and the brands and everything like that, to see if it'll help you out when it comes down to choosing the filters that are right for you. So first things first is the Cinebloom 5% by Moment. This is a filter that I've used for my 35-150 ever since I kind of got the lens. I've went ahead and got this filter because I had the 20%, which I still own to this day, but I thought it was a little bit too much for an everyday kind of filter. So I went ahead and got the 5%, which I thought was just enough, perfect, and enough diffusion when it came down to my photos and video needs for the most part. So I kind of kept it onto this lens at all times, and I use it daily when it comes down to my photo content creation and the video content creation when I'm using this lens. I've honestly kept it right there where it is on the good old lens itself and just use it daily when it comes down to my content creation. This filter is not too much when it comes down to the diffusion department, and it's just enough that I think it just adds a nice, just softer tone to my photos and videos that I can use it daily non-stop without having to take it off of my lens. The reason why I went with the Cinebloom versus like the, the Pro Mist, Black Mist or whatever it is by Tiffin, I just thought that the price point for what I was getting out of it, I thought it was pretty great, and I've used the Moment filters for quite a bit now, and I think they're really good bang for your buck. Now I'm gonna do I guess a video inception when it comes down to showcasing how I'm filming myself, but because I'm gonna show you the Cinebloom 10% filter that I'm using currently to film myself with. That is the Cinebloom 10% that I'm using to film myself right there when it comes down to my video making. So I'm just gonna kind of show you real quick. And now enough, video inception. The reason why I went with the 10% as well is I wanted to have the 5, 10 to 20% when it came down to the Moment. Cinebloom filters, I have the Cinebloom 20% right over here, which I haven't used as much, to be honest, so I wouldn't recommend going with a 20% unless you're going for that stylistic kind of style of, really diffused and really kind of bloomed out highlights. But other than that, it's still pretty great all around kind of filter lens for diffusion. If anything, for the safer bet, I would go with the 5 or 10%. 10 is pretty good still. The 5% just adds enough to it where you're not overdoing it. And that is a 20% right there. This is clear filter, but it adds some good diffusion when it comes down to your highlights. So that way the lights that are behind me look a little bit more diffused. Right now we're at 10%, which I tend to keep the 10% on my 17-28 for the most part at all times, because I keep the 5% on the 35-150, and it does the job quite phenomenally. If that's even a word. I honestly don't know if phenomenally. English has been, not the most ideal some days, especially after speaking Spanish or anything else with friends or family. So yeah. You get the drift. Now we're moving on to another Moment filter. This is the Moment Variable ND 2 to 5 stops with an 82mm thread size. Most of my filters, I think honestly all by now, are 82mm thread size because of this boy right here is an 82mm thread size. And with that being said, it allows me to just use a step-up ring like so. This filter kind of, I guess, it's not much of a filter, but it's just enough where you have you're basically getting everything for your lenses when it comes down to having a step-up ring from a 67mm thread size, which is a 17-28, up to an 82mm thread size when it comes down to the 35-150. But that way I have just those filters without having to buy the same ones over and over again. Save some money that way. But yeah, if you ever want to, you know, upgrade to other lenses that might have a bigger thread size, I would already go ahead and get an 82mm thread size, let's say, and then buy the step up rings for the other lenses that you have, just to play a safer bet, and then that way you don't have to replace everything. But anyways, this is the Moment variable ND filter, which is very, very nice. The reason why I love this lens filter right here is because it takes away the vignetting from like wide lenses like the 17-28. Even when I stack my filters with a diffusion filter and the variable ND. I've made a video before about why and, you know, how I did that, or if it worked out or not. And the reason why I love doing this now with this lens filter is because it just takes away a lot of the vignetting, and it just adds a nice softer touch to it, while also being able to use a variable ND when it comes down to my footage to, you know, keep it at an f2.8, get a little bit more of that shallow depth of field. Plus, another cool thing with Moment that I think is really great, their packaging is phenomenal. This is their lens filter kind of case that they come with, you know, right there. They are pretty phenomenal, and quality wise for the price have been really great, and I think, you know, you're getting your bang for your buck. So now we're gonna, you know, sit over here for a little bit. Right there. So now the next thing that we're gonna talk about, you know, gotta hang out a little bit over here for a second before we go back up there, is a circular polarizer. It is a great thing to add when it comes down to your photography, and if you're trying to get rid of glares when it comes down to car photography, or even some of reflection kind of style photography, to control it better, whether it's through windows or anything like that. I have the Moment circular polarizer, is an 82mm thread as well, and this has been pretty great for the price point, and it has done a great job. I'll leave every link of everything that I use down below, so if you want to get anything of it that I can find still online, I'll leave it down below for you guys to check it out. It does help out the channel, since I'll be upfront, they're affiliated links, but anyway, it goes no cost to you. Probably you've seen it through every YouTuber out there, and I thought it would be great to, you know, help out the channel in a little bit of a way that way. So if you choose to use those links, I thank you so very much. But anyways, yeah, so I'm gonna come back up here in a second to discuss the last filter that I have. It's just another variable ND, but it's a different brand from the Moment one, just because it's one that I had already. And then I'll also talk about the case that I have to keep my ND filters nice and secure. But with these ND filters and variable filters that I have, like whether it's the diffusion ones or circular polarizer, are very phenomenal when it comes down to them, because they add a lot of value with my photography and video making. Because a lot of the times we tend to forget that if you're more into, I guess, into the newer world of photo and video making, having a good filter can add or break your footage. Even like the Moment 20% diffusion filter, if it's not the right setting, it can just be too much. I've kind of learned that the hard way for myself, just because that was one of them that I got gifted to myself for, I think it was Christmas. My wife gave it to me, and it just, I used it for a lot of things, and it was good for what it was, but then it got too much, so I stopped using it for a while, and now I got the 5% and 10%, but that allows me to, you know, control a little bit more of how much diffusion I want to add to certain scenarios, and that's the most important thing when it comes down to all these filters, and you have to keep that in mind. All right, we're back in action over here. Anyways, so one of the things that I want to show you is my other variable ND filter that comes down to, I guess, helping out with the further stops that I need to have when it comes down to my, I guess, if you will, harsher light videos that I want to do sometimes. And it's just a simple variable ND filter that I got from K&F Concept. It's basically an ND2 to a 400, and it's a 82mm thread size, and this is what it looks like. It has a lot of those, you know, thread little dots right there that you can kind of know how much of a stop you want to do, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so 9 stops. I couldn't remember if it was more or not, but I remember it was like about 9. So you have 9 stops of more. So in a sense, I can go past the 5 that I get with the moment variable ND. So with that being said, it allows me just, you know, on the harsher of days, get rid of that light that I don't want to have. But also the one thing I don't like about this as much is that it does introduce a little bit of vignetting when you get to, like, you know, the higher mark to get rid of the harsher lighting. That's why I went with the moment ND filter, which you can get the higher one, but adding both of them, it just got a little bit pricey. So that's one of the reasons why I just went with this, because I don't use it as often as I would need to. And as for my case, when it comes down to my, you know, keeping my variable ND filters and every filter that I need safe, I've been having the Peter McKinnon, I guess the nomadic version of it for filters. I do like it. It's nothing, you know, it's a little bit more on the pricier side than other ones. I used to have one just from Adorama. There was just like a simpler one, but I want to have a little bit more safer one, especially for traveling, which I'll have a couple travels coming up soon. And I don't want to have my filters, you know, breaking after spending quite a bit of money on them. So if you need one, I've been liking this one so far. You probably can find other ones that you know, it can be probably a better pricing. But other than that, I think they have been quite phenomenal when it comes down to it. Anyways, those are the filters that I use, and hopefully they help you out in deciding, you know, what filters to get and for what purposes. If you have any questions or comments or anything concerned with these filters, you want to know more about them, leave them down below, and I'd be happy to help you guys out as much as possible and give you as much detail as needed to, you know, ease the purchase when it comes down to you. If you want to check any of the filters that I have, check the links down below. It really does help the channel out, and I appreciate that a lot. But with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Share this video with a friend. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.